If you follow these kind of things, you already probably know that DeepSeek released a open source frontier model called with a very simple name of DeepSeek version 3. The big news about this model are: one, how cheap it was to train. The estimate is that they used $6 million for the complete training of a frontier model, which is at the level of GPT-4, Claude Sonnet 3.5, that are estimated to cost a lot more in terms of training. The second reason why this model is extremely important is because it implements many novel ideas that made also possible to train it in such a short time. To start, it is a mixture of experts kind of model. So just a subset of the parameters of the model activate at each token generated. And there is also a layer which is called a router that based on the basically on the current context selects which of the subset of the weights is activated, which is what expert is activated for a given generation of token. So basically it's like if different parts of the model specialize in different aspects of the human culture. So it is possible to replay. It's not like you don't have to imagine this like a given model is an expert in mathematics, another given model it's an expert in I don't know in good style writing. It's more interleveled than that. And the model each time selects what to activate. Being it a mixture of model, it means also that the inference cost is much lower because mixture of experts kind of models have the same RAM requirements of full models. Of monolithic models, if we want to call them like that, but there is a lot less GPU usage for each generated token, and this has two effects. One is the cost reduction, and the second is the latency reduction. So it's DeepSeek version 3 is extremely fast at generating text. And this is also a very good improvement in the user experience thing, because you ask the question, even you attach large files together with the question, and you see the model being extremely fast at generating the reply, which is handy. But all these things, okay, are already a lot, because we have an open source frontier model, which is very important. But there is more about it, which in my opinion is the real news, and is the DeepSeek mission. And a couple of days ago, there was an interview with the CEO of DeepSeek, and he really had interesting words to say to the world, I believe. The interviewer, I didn't really do a great job asking the questions, but still the message that he wanted the world to know was pretty clear. So if I understand correctly, DeepSeek is a very strange company where there is an hedge fund, so a financial institution or a financial company of some kind that takes a subset of the big money that they have and invest in this DeepSeek venture. But what they want to do right now is to excel is to do great things in current AI and don't be the followers of the West as normally Chinese do. Normally the Chinese basically wait for the given technology to be made by West, then it consolidates, and then they enter the business when there is to mass produce this technology. So the CEO of DeepSeek was saying, we normally are free rider that attach to the process, to the West technology and research process, and then we just are in the product line basically. But we are tired to do just that. We want to participate to the process of creation of the frontier research, frontier AI in this specific context, and that's very interesting because so at some point the interviewer told the CEO, but if you do that and you publish all the papers for free and you publish open weights models with a BSD-like license basically or whatever, how do you lead the field? Because the other companies will copy you in a matter of time, and the ground will be flat again. And he said, to start, basically the street credibility is not nothing. It's important to us because, but in my opinion, when he said us, DeepSeek, he was really saying Chinese, because after DJI for the drones, Bambulab for 3D printers, the reality is that in China, they are no longer followers in many industries, but they are the leaders. And I expect this to happen more and more and more. And DeepSeek want to be that for AI. And that's very interesting in my opinion. So yeah, the street credibility, but also he said something that is very interesting, very wise. Even if they will copy us with our research, still the knowledge that we accumulate in this way, it's a resource that will help us lead in the future. So basically, after all these interesting things, I wanted to try this model to understand how it performed. If you are into LLMs, you know that oftentimes the benchmarks don't really reflect the real performance of the model. This is especially true, for example, with meta models, with Llama 3.1 and so forth. If you look at the paper and the numbers they publish, the model is great. If you test it, often is not very good. So I started to test DeepSeek version 3 more and more. My kind of testing is the things that I normally do with Claude. For example, I put inside the context of DeepSeek v3 the HNSW paper about vector searches, and then my implementation. And I said, this is the paper and this is my implementation. Tell me all the things that are in the implementation, in the C code, but they are not present in the paper. Give me a feeling of how the implementation builds on the paper. And the model was able to identify everything. Then I said, one of the things that the model identified is the way I handle nodes deletion and the way I reconnect the orphan and the links that are the nodes that are orphaned of one link together using similarity metrics and other heuristics. It was able to explain very well the algorithm that I used, and then I said, now do an analysis based on the paper fundamental assumptions about the data structure, and tell me how the C implementation extension is or is not in line with the paper. And he did the analysis and said, in my opinion, the implementation is sounding because of that, so the graph quality should probably be still, the graph quality is preserved after the deletions and so forth. And then I made the model write some of the tests, because I don't use models to write any C code once, because normally the code produced is not as good as the code that I am able to produce, and secondly because I'm doing this implementation for Redis, and I don't want, even if in the terms of services of this model, they say that everything you produce is your own stuff, and I will trust this because I believe in the future we will use model to write code. But still, I'm writing code for my company, so I don't want to take any risk about this. But for the Python tests, I'm letting the model write the skeleton of new tests and then fill in the details manually. So I made DeepSeek to write tests for me, and the result was very good. Also, the test involved the threading, because vector similarity in vector sets is threaded. The reds are threaded by default, which is very unlike Redis, but it is the right thing to do this stuff, in my opinion, because of how the data structure works. And so I wanted a test that read concurrently doing vector similarities, and then I wanted to have writes in between and key deletions and so forth, and it worked very well. So yes, we have a fucking frontier model in the open source, and we have a very strong opinionated leader in the, together with Anthropic, OpenAI, and Meta, and whatever, which is very focused on research, which is also very bold on the way it wants to, rethink the transformer, the attention, and yeah, I'm happy that they are in the field. Bye.